guys, welcome back for another quick message here on this platform. And today we're going to be looking at the different commandments and be reminded of what our Heavenly Father has to say in reference to what He holds as a standard for us as we operate from a place of obedience. So, the very first thing that I want to mention is we're going to be in the book of Exodus, Exodus 20, and it reads, "And the Almighty spoke all these words, saying, I am your heavenly Father, the Almighty, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other deities before me." That's the very first thing that he makes mention of. You are to have no idols. You are to have anything that is going to be before him. You are not to have anything that is going to position anything that's supposed to take his rightful space in your life. Okay? Then he continues, verse 4, "You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. For I, your heavenly Father, your Almighty, am a jealous Almighty." Do you understand? No deities. He's the only. "Visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments." He's literally telling you how you can earn all of these glorious gifts and benefits from him by keeping his commandments. Verse 7, "You shall not take the name of the Almighty, your heavenly Father, in vain, for the Almighty will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain." He's telling you what the consequence is should you follow through and commit this act. Okay? Verse 8, "Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor, and all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath to the Almighty your heavenly Father. On it you shall do no work, do any work. You, your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates." He's literally telling you everybody that's in your household and even those that are visiting with you are to uphold this command. Happy Sabbath. "For in 6 days the Almighty made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Almighty has blessed or favored the Sabbath day and made it holy." It is a holy day, not a holiday like you do go and uphold and make sure that you keep. But this is a holy day as deemed by our Heavenly Father who created the days. Okay? So I just want to remind you of those very few things. Now we're going to continue the commandments, starting in verse 12 of Exodus 20. "Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land of that the Heavenly Father your Almighty is giving you." He's literally telling you how you can live long in the land that He's desired to give you during this lifetime. By what? Honoring your mother and your father. And today you see such a narrative of this being an issue, with children being disrespectful to their parents, with them going against their parents' wishes, with them not upholding the very teachings that their parents have instilled in them that are scriptural principles and built on biblical principles. They're doing the complete opposite. They're doing what they want. And so these children don't understand because they haven't been taught a lot of times that this is shortening their time. Verse 13, "You shall not murder." That's simplicity. You don't give life, so you don't take it. "You shall not commit adultery." He hates adultery because it causes a disconnection and it does something psychologically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally to that person. Once that act is committed, it is very hard for a person to move on through and receive the same benefits and joys without having a defiled circumstance or situation. 15, "You shall not steal." 16, "You shall not bear false witnesses against your neighbor." Verse 17, "You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. Do not covet." It's that simple. You are not to be envious or jealous or desire to have something that you don't have. that someone else has. Verse 18. Now, when all the people saw the thunder and flashes of lightning and the sound of the trumpet on the mountain smoking, the people were afraid and trembled, and they stood far off and said to Moses, You speak to us, and we will listen. But do not let the Almighty speak to us, lest we die. Moses said to the people, Do not fear, for the Almighty has come to test you, that the fear of him may be before you, that you may not sin. This is why we are to fear our Heavenly Father, if you didn't know why. The people stood far off, while Moses drew near to the thick darkness where the Almighty was. You see, so every time you take the time to dissect our Heavenly Father's Word, you see the reasons why He does what He does, the consequences, and also the benefits. Choose the benefits, guys. That's the message for today. I pray that this message has found you well, and I look forward to seeing you at the next appointed time. Take care.